There are studies that show even just scribbling has a like calming, soothing effect.
I was thinking about it last night for some reason, but it happened a while ago. I take notes when I speak to someone. That's when I teach, and then everybody else start talking. You see me looking down and doing something. It's automatic habit. Even when I talk to my parents, sometimes I take notes just without realizing. But besides notes, I also doodle all the time,
I doodle too all the
mindlessly,
time.
mindlessly. And then I'm old-fashioned. When I was working in offices, I started doing folders for each client. When I stopped going to the office, I thought I'm going to move everything online. I don't like that. I don't like that. And then I have so many, well, most of my clients, they're like permanent with me. So they're always coming back. And it's nice to have a physical thing. I just go on shelf, find their name. I have for every appointment, I have notes. And then so I'm going downstairs and I dropped and all notes spread out. Over a few years, we had at least dozen appointments with this gentleman, and all notes came out. And I started gathering them. When they spread out, they look differently. And I realized the doodles on every note look very different. They start changing in the order the sessions took. So whatever I doodled actually reflected his progress, because whatever he was telling me, obviously I wouldn't doodle while I'm hypnotizing. I'm doodling when I'm listening and taking notes. Whatever he's giving me, it comes out like this. The progress and change was very obvious. I was shocked. It was such a revelation to me. But there is a part in psychology, they teaching not just about signature and writing, handwriting, but also they can tell you what's your character, personality, and what you're experiencing right now. What kind of doodle?
But isn't it interesting how reality is always showing something forth, but our awareness doesn't always capture that reality? Because it's Rosalie, when you said that with the doodling, I've doodled all my life and it's therapeutic. But it wasn't until now that I had this realization what it can show us, right? It always has information for us. It's just our sense of
The world
awareness.
speaks to us in more than one way. It speaks to us in so many different languages. It's just we don't have skills to understand that. When people come to me to learn psychic abilities, I don't think you can learn it. You just need to learn to use what you have. They're not coming out of someplace, not something you can pay for. You just need to learn to interpret what you're receiving, because you're seeing things all the time. You just don't understand it.
And the universe communicates in symbols. And if we go back ancestrally, images were our first form of
That's
communication.
right. Our language is not that old. That's why our subconscious mind responds better to imagery and symbols. Very often, well, Reina, you do regressions, past life regressions. Sometimes people will say, I just see colors, or I just see these pictures. Perhaps you regress them to time when there was no language. I feel like I don't have the words to explain it. I think that's why, especially with resistant clients, just direct suggestions and hypnosis not always effective. If you cover them with pretty imagery, subconscious mind does not resist it. It opens up. Oh, this is something that is safe. I know that.
It's interesting you said that because I had this client, she's already done 2 or 3 sessions with me. But the first day, I like to calibrate to see where their imagination is, their creativity and everything. So I asked her, can you imagine going back, just a little exercise? She's like, I can't see thing. I can't feel thing. I can't. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm just calibrating. I was honest with her. And I thought, it's the first day. Maybe she's feeling a little uncomfortable. That's fine. So yesterday we did a parts integration. And in the parts integration, it was beautiful. It was, look, I get emotional just thinking about it because here at the first day, she couldn't imagine anything. And when she's talking to the parts of her, she's like, at the end, I can't believe I imagined all that. I can't believe all that came out. And I recorded it. Usually when I do a parts integration, I record and send it to them. But there was a part of her, I think it was because I did it in Spanish, acceptance. So she's like, acceptance, use the imagination and you ask a part to, well, the way I do it, to float out, right? And you talk to that part of you. And so acceptance was real heavy in her hand. And I said, is that a good heaviness? Tell me a little bit about this heaviness. Well, she kept on saying it was heavy. And I'm like, well, this acceptance. I like to play with the parts and really learn about them. And what about this heaviness? And she goes, something like, I'm tired. She was tired. And I said, so acceptance is coming with tiredness. Now, what does tiredness want for acceptance? And she taps into her body. She feels her body and she's like, freedom, freedom. So all these parts just organically spoke through her. And we captured the moment. There was a lot of information that came in from her parts. And she's like, I don't know how that happened. It was so beautiful. But that was just going back on how some people at the beginning think that they can't, or that they don't have any creativity, or they can't visualize, or they can't sense. And then I said, we all do, because we all have internal representations. We just process them differently, but we internalize them differently.
So different meaning to what words imagine to one person means one thing and to another something different. If you just play with words, imagine, pretend, visualize, just remember what it's like. Some people, it's a different problem, not an ability to imagine, it's just resistance. No matter what you say, they brush it off. No, I can't. No, I can't. No, I'm not going to do this. No, it doesn't feel right to me. One time I yelled at a woman. I yelled at her, have you never been in a forest? You don't know what forest looks like? And then she was able to imagine anything after that. It just, different approach.
It was funny. My screen just froze there for a moment, and it was
it's my frustration created disturbance. I'm naturally very nice, soft, but it does not work for every client.